well with ripple in the context of positivity and mental health is effect. Together they create the phrase ripple effect, which symbolizes the idea that positive actions and attitudes can spread and have a broader impact on individuals and communities. In the context of mental health, promoting positivity and engaging in self-care can create a ripple effect by inspiring and influencing others to prioritize their well-being and mental health. It emphasizes the idea that in promoting mental, or it emphasizes that the idea that even small acts of kindness and positive thinking can have far-reaching consequences in promoting mental health and well-being. It is the ripple effect. So that's what we're going to be talking about.
I love ripple effect. It's so when we were talking about this prior week, what we wanted to talk about on the podcast, I think it was Dan that suggested ripple effect, and I've been thinking all week about it, and it's a powerful thing, and I think it's I'm sure we'll dive into this a little more into the podcast, but there's two sides of the coin. There's the ripple effect of positivity, but there's also the ripple effect of negativity.
Oh, for sure.
And so that's something I want to touch on later on. But so yeah, you had a lot of thoughts too. What do you want to portray to our listeners about ripple effect?
Well, definitely what you were just commenting on about how there's positives and negatives, because it's like if you're driving down the street, somebody cuts you off, you can respond one of two ways.
Yeah.
You can just blow it off, forget about it, and not let it affect you, or you can honk and create a scene, and then that bill just swells it up and just blows it out of proportion, which I would not suggest doing, because that's definitely not what we're here for. We're here for the positivity side. If you blow it off and then just put a smile on your face, that smile to the person next to you, if they look over after they see you get cut off and they just see a smile on your face, they'll be like, maybe it is just a small thing,
And do you know how hard that is?
Oh, I know how hard it is.
I was thinking about it. I'm like,
I know what you're
in this whole week, we started this podcast. I wanted to be a part of this podcast for me because positivity is something that I have been. I think I used to be pretty good at, but given some circumstances in my life, I think I just kind of abandoned that. But this whole week, especially about this topic, I've been thinking about it. I'm like, I'm not good at that. A little example. We went to Chick-fil-A. This was a couple months back, and we went to the drive-thru. And I've always had a good experience with Chick-fil-A.
Mm-hmm.
They've always got fast. Their servers are really friendly. But this one day, this kid that was taking my order, he was the biggest jerk, and he was just so demeaning, and he just had a sour attitude. And that one little thing ruined my whole day. I was taken out on my kids, my wife. I was just mad at the whole world because of that stupid little incident. But and that's kind of the ripple effect of negative consequences that that we're talking about just barely about the opposite side of positivity, and that stupid little incident just ruined my whole day.
Yeah.
My wife's like, it's not that big a deal. Why are you so mad? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just so mad. That guy's such a jerk. Why did he do that? But yeah, so I think this is a great topic. It's going to be super beneficial for me, especially if I have it on the front of my mind to, if something negative happens to me, I can quickly turn that into a positive and stop that ripple effect of negativity and start that ripple effect of being positive and take it from there and spread positivity from that negative effect. So.
And the thing is, you never know what that person's going through.
Exactly.
Because for all we know, they might have had a family member pass, or even just a pet.
Yeah, or maybe his boss was.
Or maybe his boss. Yeah.
So I missed my opportunity. I could have changed this day.
But that's the thing it's like you never know what other people are going through.
Yeah.
And so just because they're being sour or something doesn't mean that you have to pass that sour on.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I know it's tough. Because the whole cutoff story that happens all the time. It doesn't matter where you are.
And I think I think we kind of touched on this on our last intro podcast, the first one. I think that's kind of the mentality that society is ingrained into our brains of, just negative. If someone cuts you off, flip them the bird, cause reckless driving. Why? why do you have to take things so personally when, like you said, you don't know their story, or it was something, even if they have nothing going on, they're just mean people, forget about it. I mean, don't let
Yeah.
that one simple incident ruin your whole day or your whole week. Or
Exactly. But it also works in the positive side.
Exactly.
The same
That's-
exact
yep.
situation.
And that's what we want to talk about.
Yeah. It's like if you go, every other experience you've had at Chick-fil-A, it's always been a positive experience.
Exactly.
And the thing is, though, it's like people only say something when something bad happens. They never sit and praise when something good happens.
Google
And-
reviews for business owners, they're impossible to get for a good experience. But you have that one negative experience,
And it cancels
and
out.
yeah, you'll see it all over Facebook, all over Google,
Yep.
and it's sad. It's sad that that's how it is. And
And well, like if you're shopping online on Amazon, etc., if you see something that has 3 stars, you're not going to buy it,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Same thing with businesses. It's like just because they're only getting the negative reviews because nobody's putting positive reviews, just because they don't have, if they don't have issues, they just
Yeah,
it goes
just-
to the wayside.
yeah,
They forget about it.
Exactly.
And but if something arises, then they're like, oh, this is the worst business ever.
Yep.
And it's like I know in our industry that happens, and I mean it takes a lot to be able to over deliver to be able to get those
Yeah.
positive reviews.
So go leave positive reviews for every experience you have. That's good for any business.
Yes.
I mean, it helps business owners, and it's
Yeah.
it's overlooked. Like you said, it's not. I mean, even if you go over the top, you're probably still not going to get that positive review unless you
Yeah.
pay for it. I mean,
Yeah, and that's another thing is it's like a lot of people don't even think to leave a review
I know. Yeah.
because they're like, oh, this is a great experience.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and they just
It-
which
yeah.
is great
It's
because
good. Yeah.
because that's instant gratification for us,
Exactly.
which we'll probably go into gratification
Yeah.
and stuff later on,
Right.
but not in this podcast.
Yeah.
Maybe in another podcast down the road, because there's definitely instant gratification versus delayed
Yeah,
gratification.
that's a whole nother conversation.
And that is
yeah.
it's a whole nother can of worms. But so it's like, unless if they're getting that that positive over the top experience, well, and like you were saying, even then it's still not guaranteed.
Yeah.
But you have to almost beg for it, and at that point, then it doesn't seem like it's a sincere review.
Yeah.
But
What are some? I mean, I don't know. I know you guys kind of dabbled in this experiment this week a little bit. You wrote cards, or what did you guys do?
Yeah,
I mean,
so we had ordered some affirmation cards that we are giving to our daughter, and when we go out places like grocery stores, gas stations, parks, even Walmart.
yep, we gave away 2 today.
Yeah, and we just gave her these little cards to have cute little sayings like, hey, you're doing great, I appreciate you, things like that. And then just on the back row, spread the smiles, and just had her go hand them to anybody around the stores. And
that is, I think that was a
Yeah.
cool. They told us, they sent me a message about that idea, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. If I had a little kid come up to me and their parents were close by and gave me a little card, that I would think that was amazing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and the thing is the responses that we've gotten, it's like they look at it for a second, like, what the heck? And then they read it, and then they're like, you just see that smile come on their face, and it lights up their day.
And I am as guilty as anyone with getting caught up in go to work, come home, get dinner, brush the kids' teeth, go to bed, and that's it. So I think something like that, ideas like that, that
It
breaks
you
up.
from
Yeah, it breaks
Yeah.
up the monotony of everyday grind, and
yeah.
yeah.
And then they have a story to tell too.
exactly.
Yeah.
And you're teaching your kids slow life down, enjoy life, help others. I mean, that's a valuable lesson for kids, I think, and for us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you actually just did an activity over the weekend with your kids as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
tell us about
so and there's a video on this too. I made a quick little TikTok video, but my boys were watching some YouTuber about they would find crystals and break up rocks, find crystals, which is something you're into. I know nothing about crystals, so my boys were like, "Dad, let's go find some crystals." I'm like, I don't know. First thing about I don't know where to look, what to look for. So my wife had an idea. She saw a separate little video or post or something about something along the lines of making your kids' dreams a reality, even if you have to. I don't want to say lie or fake it, but kids are kids, and if I don't know how to find crystals, we'll make it happen. So we went to the rock store, we bought some crystals. We went up to a nearby little mountain area called Pine Valley here in southern Utah, and we hid these crystals under some rocks. And I mean, they're like shiny crystals, not like your ordinary quartz crystal or whatever. But so one day they'll realize, oh, you lied to me, Dad, but that's okay. But so we were like, oh, let's look under these rocks, and so we picked up the rocks and found these crystals, and they thought it was the coolest thing ever. And it actually did kind of start that ripple effect, because one boy found 4 and the other found 2, and the one that found 4 gave him 1, and so they shared the crystals, and it was a good time. It was fun.
That's awesome.
That
Yeah.
sounds fun.
Yeah, and well, you said one day they might say, well, Dad, you lied to me, but they also might say, well, thank you for
I
that
know.
experience.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yep.
So, and that's another thing,
Yeah,
the two
exactly.
sides, a positive and a negative,
Yep.
which, I mean, you lied to me,
Right,
I mean,
right.
but that's the double-sided coin there, and
Yep.
that's with anything. Everything has a two-sided coin.
I think it starts with, at least for me, it starts with shifting, like anything, it's shifting your mindset, because I think by nature I'm just kind of a cynical person. I don't really trust people.
Well,
pessimistic. I don't know. I think it's just the line
You've
of
been
work.
through so
Yeah,
much.
yeah, no, and I think, I don't know, maybe by nature most of us are, maybe not you guys, but I know. So I know for me it's changing that mindset, trying to, like you said, that little silly incident at Chick-fil-A. I could have easily looked at the guy and said, hey, are you having a bad day? What, I'm sorry if I'm upsetting you further, but what can I do to make it easier? But instead, I literally, there was cars in front of me, behind me. I'm like, I told the guy, I'm like, I'm out of here. So I did like a 50-point turn. I left the drive-through and, and I went inside and complained. So I could have done a better job. But no, I think it's shifting your mindset to look for positive. Yeah.
Well, and that also just shows that, everyone, we're all humans.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things that you've now, realized what was going on, and you can overcome it, and
For future. Yep.
exactly. So it's just the little things that you pick up that. So like I said, we're here to help each other,
Yeah.
and you and us. And
Yeah.
I mean, like we are not perfect. So it's just about like the different ways though that we can start a ripple.
Yeah.
Like, because there's positive ways and negative ways, but the base for the positives is just like acknowledging someone, just saying hi, just letting them know that you notice them, that you are there.
And isn't
and
that
they are
rare? I was
there.
thinking about that too. When we're going over, we've tried to make bullet points to things we want to talk about, and one of the things that one of you guys put in your bullet points was saying hi. And I was thinking about that too. I'm like, that's so rare nowadays. Like, people are just kind of in their own mindset when they go to the grocery store. I'm gonna get this and this, pay for it and leave. But you don't see strangers that say hi to each other. It's
No.
it's odd. And I served a church mission in Mexico, and the people in Mexico are totally opposite. And it's probably the case with other countries. I've never been to other countries other than Mexico, but in Mexico, strangers say hi to each other. They take time. If you're eating, they say provecho, enjoy, and enjoy your food. And people don't do that. And at least here, where we live, it's a rarity to have people say hi to you, strangers.
Yeah.
Well, it almost seems like people get put off when you do. Like,
I know,
you're-
like, oh, is that a
You-
creeper? What
They start wondering what you're up to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's not like you're.
What do you want?
Yeah, walking like when you're going to leave Chili's or something like that. Oh, we love Chili's, by the way.
I love Chili's.
We are not sponsored or endorsed by.
But if Chili's, if you want to give us a free meal, we'll do it.
But yeah, so it's like when you're leaving, people they just as people are walking by, they don't even look.
I know.
They just
Yeah.
keep their head down and just stick
Yeah.
at their business, and it's
Yeah.
and I think it's because everybody's so closed off. They're afraid that interaction in any way is negative,
Yeah.
especially because of the whole COVID thing recently.
Yep.
It's like,
When
well,
I had COVID, and I think technology kind of has
Yeah.
a role to play in
Yeah.
that too.
because people aren't as personable. They can
Mhm.
on their phone they can be talking and texting and stuff all day long, but then when they're in person, they're like,
And that's actually true too. I mean, I see people, and me and my wife try and have that rule. When we're out on a date, we put our phones away.
Mhm.
But yeah, people are on their phones with their loved ones right there, and I mean they're so closed off. So yeah, I think that's Yeah, I was thinking about that a lot. I'm going to try and make that one of my efforts. Is
That's
saying
something
hi
I need to work on. She can attest to that.
Yeah, I mean, just saying hi to strangers and
Well, and a lot of it comes to with like how you grow up too. Like my parents, they always taught like you do not talk to anybody at
yeah,
all. Like if you're out in
Right.
public, just ignore people. If they say hi to you, just walk away. And that's how my parents raised me, and I didn't know any different till I started getting to college and people were saying hi, and I thought they were like the weirdest people ever for saying hi to me. And then I married him, and everywhere we go, hi, that's my cousin. Hi, that's my cousin. And so it's like to me it was so weird that he was saying hi to everybody, and now it's just habit. I say hi to everybody. I don't even know if I don't even care if I know them. I'm
Yeah.
saying hi and waving to them, and they look at me like I'm crazy. But
and something as simple as a smile too.
Yeah.
Just smiling at strangers. It's
Well, and that's like, you'd be working in your yard, and neighbor come by and say, and you just wave, say hi as they're walking by, and that puts a smile on their face.
yeah,
And they continue on, and then they see one of your other neighbors, and they're like, "Oh, hey, how are you?" And then now you've affected two lives because you made that person happy, which
Yeah.
then passed on to another person. So that's the ripple right there, starting, and that's third person. They could be, who knows what they're going through in life. That little smile can make a big difference to them, and it's things like that, just acknowledgement.
yeah.
So
I think kids are really good at that.
Well-
I'm sure your girl is. My boy, he'll talk to anyone and he'll say hi to anyone. I'm like, okay, that's nice, but if someone tries to get you in their van, don't do it. But
don't get in people's vans, kids.
no, definitely not. You know that you guys probably seen that post, that picture on social media where it has the matches in a row and they're burnt, and then there's one lower and it's not burnt, and then the rest are not burnt. It's that's kind of the ripple effect of stopping negativity and starting positivity.
That's actually really good.
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to explain, but if you've seen that picture, you know what I'm talking about. But
yeah.
Because
Yeah,
you can stop.
Yep, you stop that flame of negativity, and then everyone that you interact with after you is going to hopefully have that positive vibe that you started sharing and stopped, behind you. So,
Yeah, breaking the cycle.
yeah, breaking the
Yep.
cycle, exactly. Starting the positive ripple effect.
Yeah. And well, another way of kind of starting that ripple is just by appreciating somebody, by saying thank you, just a simple thank you. Like, let's say you're out at the grocery store, the lady's checking you out and everything, and then at the end you say, well, thank you, and you have a wonderful day. Just that little appreciation.
And I think a less robotic thank you of what we're used to, and a more, like you said, like you came across as very like a more sincere, like, oh,
Yeah.
I really appreciate you
Exactly.
bagging my groceries or whatever.
Yeah.
No, it's instead of thanks, have a good day.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that's the thing is, it's like, it's the way that people perceive it too, not just the way you say it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it's exactly like that. And
Yeah.
so
And that can go for spouses. I mean, I know
Yeah.
I get in the habit of, not consciously, but I feel like I just expect things of my spouse or my kids.
you kind of
or-
just get in that
yeah,
general.
yep. And, but if you stop and really think, oh, wow, she did all that laundry, or he did this, or my kids did that,
Mhm.
and then you show that appreciation, I think that goes a long way for sure.
Because that helps them to be able to continue on that
And-
positivity.
And your kids are always watching. For those of you that have kids, they're always watching, whether you realize it or not. Kids are like sponges, and so they're
Yeah,
gonna-
they
yeah.
are. Positive and negative.
yeah, and that's true. They're gonna watch how you interact with your significant other, or with other grown-ups, or with other kids, and they're going to internalize that. And if they see that, oh, my dad had a bad experience with that Chick-fil-A guy, that gives him the right of way to be grumpy with everyone. Obviously, that's not the case, and that should be the case. But so,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you got to watch what you do.
So ripple effect can lead to your kids and how they grow up. Like Shanna said,
Yeah.
I mean, how she was raised was, yep. So
And then another way that we can, kind of start that ripple is just by advising. It's like being there to teach people how to be positive, mentoring them, or even, just helping in community service tile or anything of that that line where you're just advising and helping, because it's like that's what we're trying to do here. You know, we're advising you all these different ways. We're helping you to be able to kind of change more positive. And I mean, I know a lot of our followers are positive. I mean, I've seen
Oh, way positive.
the interaction and everything.
Yeah, my
It's
wife,
wonderful.
she's like, I just love this group. I mean, every day there's so many good comments and so
Yeah.
much positivity. So.
And the interaction between everybody too. It's like it's not just us responding to the
No,
individuals;
definitely.
it's individuals
Yeah.
responding to other individuals.
Yep.
And I mean that's a community right there. That's
Yep.
the tribe that we're
That's
trying
the
to
tribe.
build,
Yeah,
and
that's
we
what we-
want that.
Yeah.
And so just us doing this podcast is starting a ripple, and I hope you guys can continue that ripple.
Yeah.
But and then kind of the final way, the fourth way that I can think about is just admiring somebody. You know, just when you're looking at your spouse, be like, "You look nice today."
Yep.
You know, just those little compliments, those things that make them just a little bit happier. Because saying hello is a great start, but then be like, "Hello, you look nice."
Yeah.
You know, but you still have to be genuine.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I think
definitely.
that's also another lost art or whatever you want to call it. It's a thing that we get too busy and we don't
Mhm.
take the time to compliment or admire our significant others.
Yeah, and it can be with anything, you know, not just our significant others.
Yeah,
It can be a friend. It could even be a stranger and be like, "Hey, I like your tie." You know, if you
Yeah, how many times do you hear that with strangers? Well, you dress nicer than me.
But yeah, it's like it's little things like that.
Well, for an example of that, there was a book club group I was in a while ago, and basically what they did is the author posted and said, "Okay, what you need to do is compliment the person before you." So you would go to their page, look at their profile picture, find something you liked about them, and compliment. And then the person below you would compliment you, and then the next person compliment them, and it just go on and on and on. So everybody was complimenting complete strangers. And that, like, someone liked it and started doing another reader group, and then I saw in other reader groups, and it just kept going all around all these groups. So you started out with, you started out just a few people complimenting it, turned into thousands.
We might actually make a post about that, and just start a post like that on our tribe page,
Yeah.
and then get you guys interacting with that and see what we can really get going there, because that would be a fun one to do on our stuff.
Yeah.
Because that would be a great way to kind of get people out of their shell too.
Yeah, I can get that set up in the group.
I think what we're wanting to accomplish, one of the many things we want to accomplish with this group and podcast is just a rewiring of your brain to think positively. I think, and we all just naturally think negatively to some degree, not everyone, but I think most of us, and just in the world we live in. So, yeah, stuff like this, it just reminds you daily, hey, I gotta take a minute and just look for something good or compliment someone or something.
And the thing is, it's not just like I know that a lot of people think that only prominent people can really make an effect. You know, it's like, but really, it's not. It's like, yeah, they can say something on TV and everyone will be like, "Oh my goodness, yeah,"
Right.
or "Oh my goodness, no."
Right.
But it's not just those that make the difference. It's all the small things that are making the difference.
Yep.
It's like we could be sitting here and just make just a small comment, and because we're just three normal people, four people including your wife, you know, and it's like we're just normal people that nobody really knows.
Right.
But we're slowly making a ripple, and that ripple's going to turn into a wave.
Yep.
And so you can be anybody, and make a wave.
Yep, that's exactly it. It's, you know, we're not anyone special. We're a couple of friends that got together and decided we want to make a change in our lives, and the more we talked, we're like, why don't we try and help those around us, and then those people can help people around them, and just grow from there. So I love it.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing is, it's like just be. Now, I kind of lost my train of thought there.
That's all right.
But well, see, we're normal. We are normal people. Well, that train
We're
just took
actually
a-
kind of abnormal.
Oh man, yeah. But we've got that train just went way off in the left field. Oh, but yeah, no, there's a few different things out there that have kind of talked about like the pay it forward type thing, you know, where you do something and it continues on because you got the movie Pay It Forward. Tell us a little bit about that because
I haven't seen that movie.
Yeah.
I think I've seen it, but it's been a long time. I don't
well,
remember
it
it.
came out in
Yeah.
like the 90s.
I thought so.
And so
Yeah.
it's an old movie.
Yeah.
VHS.
I remember I went and saw it when it
That
first
might be.
came out in St. George at that old theater back behind the old Kmart.
Yeah.
But it's one of my favorite movies, and basically in it, it's about this little boy who just has a really, really tough life, and it's there's a book of it too and everything, and
I'm
pretty
guessing
much
you read the book.
I definitely did.
I did not.
I love the book, but pretty much in it, the little kid has to come up with a project to pretty much kind of change things, and so he comes up with the Pay It Forward project, where just like we were talking about earlier, you do something nice for 3 people, and then they do it for 3 more, and they do it for 3 more, and it just kind of goes. So he's trying to do these things, and I don't want to say too much because
Don't
there's
wanna
some
spoilers.
intense spoilers in it. But basically, other people end up having to kind of finish it off for him, and they go and like his mom ends up helping people, his teacher ends up helping people, all these different people, and there's homeless people that had been down on their luck and he had helped them, and they end up going to be able to help people, and it just kind of spiraled into this huge thing that was just this little kid that was constantly bullied and had just not a good life at all, and he was so little but made such a big difference. And so that's the movie. It's really good. If you guys haven't seen it, you definitely should go check it out and watch it, or go read the book, or both.
Go dust off your VHS player.
Yes.
or I think you might be able to find it on DVD now.
That's
Actually,
true. Maybe it's
so
online somewhere.
most
streaming?
libraries do have it on DVD in stock. I was looking at that the other day, so go check out your local library. They probably have it, and if not, I guarantee they have the book.
I can guarantee that they'll have something positive.
Yes.
Yep.
But yeah, and then not just that, but then I think Clay Walker has a song called "The Chain of Love" or something like that, and it starts out kind of where the guy's driving down the street in his beat up car, and comes upon this lady in a Lexus that has a flat tire, and he pulls off to help her because you know he's just that genuine guy, and she's like, there 50 people came by. No, you're the first one to stop. And she's like, thank you so much. How can I repay you? You know, and he's all like, don't worry about it. Just pass on the chain of love, you know. And it continues on, and she goes and passes it on to someone else, and then it comes back to where somebody's eating at a diner, and the waitress was this pregnant lady that was, the baby was due soon, and the person paid $100 for like a small $10 meal or something, and then left, and I think she rushes out to, hey, you forgot your change, and they said, you know, just pay it forward and continue it on, and she goes home that night, and that guy that helped the first lady was her husband. So it went full circle right back to where he was indirectly he received that positivity that he started.
That's cool.
And and it's like that, the whole ripple effect turning into a wave, and I'm sure that if he would let that lady pay him at first, it might have only been $20 or something,
Right.
and but by the time it made it all the way through, here it was $100,
Mhm.
and I'm not saying that you should focus on monetary, but it's that simple act of kindness made its way back around and paid for itself.
Yeah, and it will, one way or another. I believe
Yeah.
in karma. I believe in positivity. I believe in those law of
Yeah.
attraction. I mean,
Yeah.
you shouldn't, like Dan said, you shouldn't expect anything in return. That kind of is the purpose of spreading positivity, but you
But-
will reap the rewards one
Yeah.
way or another.
But definitely, whatever you put out there, you're going to get back.
Yeah. Yep.
Sometimes tenfold, sometimes onefold.
Yep.
But you're always going to get whatever you put out back.
Yep.
So you put out your time, you're going to get more time.
Yep.
You put out your financials, you're going to get more financial back. You know,
Yeah.
and it's like it's whatever you mentally are willing to give is what you're willing to get.
Well, a simple example of it is I do a lot of reading, and I've been doing a lot of work with authors, doing advanced reader copies on their books, leaving reviews, things like that. A few years ago, I had left just a simple, quick review on a book I liked, and now here it is 3 years later, and I'm like best friends with that author.
That's cool.
And it's just like little things kind of led up to it. We don't know how I originally found her books, no idea how we originally even started talking or how I got on her reader team or anything. But now we're really good friends and we talk like every day. And so it's like, and she's one of my biggest supporters on everything now too. Like she's supporting this podcast, she's supporting our group, she supports my cookbooks, everything. So it's like just that little thing came like full circle and just made like this huge difference, and it's helping other people too. And so, yeah.
And well, like you were saying in our first podcast, you're like, I don't remember how we even like.
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, and the thing is, it's like we've seen each other around,
Yeah.
and you know, I don't know if it's just that we just gravitated because of our whole mindsets and
Yeah.
what you put out is what you attract, and
Yeah,
you know, maybe it's all about the law of attraction and you know where you're aiming to go, where we're aiming to go, and
Yeah.
and it just
They all
drew us
work
together,
together. Yeah.
and yeah, it's like. All we know is it happened, and it happened.
Yep.
And it's a
Yep.
good thing.
Yep.
We appreciate. We really
We're
appreciate
moving-
each other.
Yeah, moving full
So.
steam ahead too.
yeah, we are.
Well, I don't know. Maybe unless you had other thoughts, maybe it'd be cool to end with one little thing that we can, maybe a suggestion to our listeners of something they can try and do this week or anything. I think for me, while you guys are thinking, I would suggest everyone focus on if you encounter a negative experience. Don't do what I did with Chick-fil-A. Try and flip that, like Dan and Shannon were talking about with myself. If someone upsets you driving or at a drive-through, or your kids are just getting on your nerves, take 10 seconds, focus on how you can quickly turn that into positive, and like we just mentioned, kind of that law of attraction vibe going on. You're going to quickly see that you're going to attract a lot more positive if you try and switch that. So
Yeah, and I think that's a perfect thing to focus on, because that's starting to ripple.
Yeah.
It's
it's
stopping.
ending one ripple and starting
It's starting a new one.
Yeah.
You kept that negativity from building into a wave that
Yeah.
could have become a monsoon.
Yeah.
Or not a monsoon. That's different. A hurricane.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like but then you've also started your own little ripple that'll
Yep.
make a wave that'll
Yeah.
turn into something bigger that's positive.
Yeah.
Because you need to know that your kindness has a ripple in this world.
Yep.
And so can your negativity.
Yeah.
But to focus on
And which are you going to focus on?
exactly
That's
whichever you focus on is the one you're going to
Yeah.
portray.
where you're going to spend your energy.
Yeah.
So, but so that's what we want you to do. We want you to just try and flip that switch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Smile more, say hi more, all
Yeah.
those little things.
Leave
Yeah.
reviews.
Leave
Thank
reviews.
people.
Yeah,
You
there's
can
so
leave,
much. There's so much you can do.
Yeah, and you can leave reviews for anything. You can leave them for services you had. You can leave them for things you buy. You can leave them for authors, like all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. And did you know that even Walmart has reviews for Google?
Oh,
I know
goodness.
that. I know that.
I need to change my mindset.
I know that. Like I'm just saying that it's like even the places that you go on a daily basis.
Yeah, it's
almost,
true.
Each one of those places is going to be on Google
Yeah.
or Angie's List, or maybe avoid Craigslist, but no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, like you can leave, even if you just go on Facebook onto your local page and just be like, hey, I ate at this local restaurant.
Yep.
The food was phenomenal. Such and such, the waiter or waitress was phenomenal. I would definitely
Yep.
recommend going there if you've never been.
Yeah.
And I need you guys to follow up with me in the comments and see how I did, because that's my biggest weakness. I'm like, I need to be positive. So
Yeah.
it'll be good.
But awesome. Yeah, we appreciate you watching, and we'll be back next week.
Yep.